The New York Giants already had a lot of question marks when it came to the depth on their offensive line, even though they did draft Evan Neal at pick number 7 in this past draft, as well as Andrew Thomas taking a step forward and becoming one of the best left tackles in football, as well as Shane Lemieux returning from a torn patella tendon that he suffered at the second day of training camp last year, Nick Gates showing positive signs that he might be returning, possibly by the end of training camp, and the New York Giants bringing in veterans John Feliciano and Mark Lewinsky to start at center and right guard on the offensive line. The New York Giants' depth on the offensive line was still something that could be tested. You already had somebody like Matt Peart, who's been with the team. This is his 3rd season right now, and is most likely going to start the season on the PUP list because he's coming off a torn ACL that he suffered towards the end of 2021. And also with Nick Gates still recovering from his broken leg that he suffered in the second week against the Washington Commanders last year, you still had some questions on the depth of that offensive line. Well, now that offensive line has just been tested even more with the fact that they've just lost recently Matt Gono to a career-ending neck injury, and he's most likely going to be retiring in the coming days. And then last night, during the New York Giants Fan Fest scrimmage game, the Giants suffered another blow to the depth on their offensive line as rookie 5th-round pick from North Carolina, Marcus McKethan, suffered a knee injury and had to be carted off the field, and is revealed today by NFL.com's Field Yates that Marcus McKethan has in fact suffered a torn ACL and he will be out for the rest of the season, which is a pretty tough pill to take for the fact that McKethan was actually showing some signs as a guy that could possibly be a depth piece around the offensive guard and possibly even the offensive tackle position going forward. And the fact that he was even taking reps as the swing tackle when Gono went down with that career-ending injury to his neck. But now that's just another blow to the depth of this offensive line. And sure, the New York Giants have just signed recently Will Holden, who's been playing in the league for at least 5 to 6 seasons, and he's going to provide some veteran depth, but there's still a lot of question marks as to the rest of that depth in the offensive line. And you have to hope that not only the starters can gel together, but also they're going to be able to remain healthy, because sure, you have guys like Nick Gates, but he's coming off a serious injury. Who knows when Matt Peart is going to be returning, if he's still even on the roster. Max Garcia, we don't even know where he's going to be right now because of the fact that he's might not even make the roster. You got guys like Jamil Douglas, who's not looking good so far in training camp. You obviously have some other pieces in there, like Josh Rivas, who looks more of a practice squad candidate, if anything. So you have a lot of guys right now in terms of the depth of that offensive line who are very questionable at best. And then they've been trying Ben Bredesen at center as well as at the offensive guard position. So the New York Giants' offensive line depth is going to be tested immediately. So I'm curious to see what other offensive linemen they're going to potentially bring back, because they could always find a way to sign back a guy like Corey Cunningham, who was with the roster at the beginning of training camp, but they released him in a corresponding move before to bring in Gavin Neslap before. So we have to see what's going to happen the rest of training camp, but it's not good news so far. And some people might be saying, well, it's not like we lost Evan Neal. It's not like we lost Andrew Thomas or Mark Lewinsky or any of our starters. It's never a good thing when you're losing depth at a certain position, especially when it comes to the offensive line, because if anything happens to any of your 5 starters, and we know how the NFL works, the New York Giants' depth is going to be tested immediately. And right now, there's not a lot of pieces on the depth of that offensive line. You could say are surefire guys that could come in just in case your 5 starters, 1 or 2 of them go out with injury, or if their play is not exactly up to par. So we have to see what's going to happen going forward. It's going to put guys like Josh Azudu more into a prime position, as he was already looked to be the primary swing offensive guard coming in. Now he's probably going to be like the 6th offensive lineman coming off the bench. You're going to have to maybe trust in a guy like Will Holden and Jamil Douglas, Ben Bredesen, if Nick Gates can make it back, if Matt Peart can make it back. You're going to have to start hoping that these guys can make it back and show something, because unfortunately with the losses to injury with Matt Gono and Marcus McKethan, the offensive line depth is a little bit of an issue now going forward. Not a big time concern, because nobody on the starting offensive line is gotten hurt yet, but it's still something that you have to keep in mind just in case something were to happen during the season. So that's just all I have to report right now today that's going on. NFL.com's Field Yates has reported that New York Giants 5th round pick out of North Carolina, 6'7", 330-pound Marcus McKethan has suffered a torn ACL in his right leg after last night's scrimmage game with the New York Giants at FanFest, and he will be missing the rest of the NFL season. So best wishes to Marcus. Hope he can make it 100% recovery and he can make it back at the beginning of New York Giants OTAs and minicamp come 2023. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Saturday. If you like the video, please hit the like button below. Subscribe if you haven't already to NYG JeffyT 3285 for more breaking news, updates, and chatter surrounding the New York Giants, Brooklyn Nets, WWE Wrestling, New York Mets, as well as food for thought. Leave your comments below on the unfortunate injury news surrounding Marcus McKethan and who you think the New York Giants might go out there to try to replace the 5th round rookie on the offensive line depth. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next short or video that drops surrounding the New York Football Giants. And also in the comment section, leave your opinions on if you are concerned at all with the offensive line depth going into the 2022 NFL season. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Saturday. Have a great rest of your weekend. And remember, let's go Big Blue. Together Blue all the way with the New York Giants. Together Blue all the way.